I'll follow up with Dan's first on the federal highway funds. The procedure for applying for those will be handled by,
It comes down to the pipe when IDOT, the funds always trickle through East-West Gateway through IDOT's approval to the city. So we will apply for projects that we want to submit.
is that a Ron Williams application kind of
Correct.
paperwork?
On the federal,
Ron?
we,
For a reason. Yes, it would be
Right.
me if you're going through East-West Gateway, but I think what you're looking at for a Fish Lake interchange, the cost you're looking at is going to be an appropriation in the next highway bill, not going through East-West Gateway. Our little $390,000 we get every year isn't going to amount to squat.
Well, Dan was talking about a time-sensitive issue, and we're talking, yes, we'd like to do this. I guess my question is to set the wheels in motion, maybe.
If you're looking at an appropriation through, on the highway bill, that's generally done through your federal reps.
it's just like 5 years ago, or 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
That's something Ron Collier would handle.
Yeah, no, we would solicit the same as we did last time with Congressman Costello. On that level.
I had stopped by and talked to Al today about I saw the programming agreement on the agenda twice, and I had asked him if we were going to vote on this tonight, and if it was in our packets. And I also asked him if Wayne Skegan was aware that this was on our agenda tonight. And I didn't get a negative or an affirmative answer on any of that. And I guess my question is Wayne Skegan aware of the programmatic agreement on our agenda tonight?
Not
And-
tonight.
And I know at one time he was telling us that we should move forward with this when we were in litigation, espousing that this would help us with our case, and that was before the case was ruled on. And I was just wondering if his input shouldn't be requested before we would vote on the programmatic agreement.
I guess my thought is if he was in favor of when we were in litigation, since we're not in litigation, why would you even have an opinion?
Well, at the time, that was to enhance a defense. That has changed at the present, so that was my question.
Yeah, the president's just up to the interpretation of the state statute, whether or not we had the right to enter into the legal agreement, whether
Well,
we had the right
I
to pass the
mean,
ordinance to sign.
you're answering for Wayne, and
No, I'm not. I'm telling
we've
you
already
exactly
heard
the facts.
I
of the
have
case.
several other questions. Now, we have talked about
Don't ask a question if you don't want the answer.
I think you gave me the answer.
No, you interrupted me in the middle of it.
May I continue?
Please do.
We have had a development of an AR zoning designation of underdeveloped, which means we have a base flood elevation issue. And if an interchange is put in there, are we supposed to, what was it, 3 foot above base flood elevation? Is that where the roads would have to be? That's not an issue that we cross here.
No. Not with the roads. And AR is just a designation that means it's under construction. It means that the government or the levy the levy district is in the process of bringing the levy up to certification levels or having it recertified. It doesn't mean that it's underdeveloped. It just means that we're being given time to bring the levy up to the standards that they have set forth when they would do the remapping. That's what the AR designation is.
So so the roads won't be affected by that at the height they have to go, in our opinion. And I had one question which you already had answered, but I'm going to bring it up again. The liability for costs of this programmatic agreement, was there a timetable where these costs will have to be reincurred to reapply? Is my question.
When I asked IDOT when and if anything that's been approved up to this point to get us to this point could change, and their answer was, we don't know. If somebody who is a decision maker, if that office should change and the new person on board says, hey, I'm not up on this, I'm not comfortable with it, I want to see this report, and I want to see more engineering, yes, we could be up for more costs and more expense to get to the point we are right now. The programmatic agreement itself did not have much cost to it. It's all the engineering up to this point and then the little bit of engineering from this point forward. What this is just the step to get us the final break and access granted from Federal Highway and IDOT to give us the right to build the interchange. This does nothing more than that. From that point, once this is passed, heck, if somebody with some money doesn't step forward, if the developer doesn't step forward, if somebody doesn't step forward to pay for the engineering to go to the next level, well, then nothing happens. But this has to happen before those next steps can even take place. This is the next step to get final access justification for the Fish Lake interchange. And that's the same interchange that we've already had two IDOT public hearings, or Federal Highway and IDOT public hearings, to look at the design and the access, the ingress egress for the interchange, and all of that has been satisfied. Most of the engineering, most of the engineering is done, and that's what we're waiting on. Is the programmatic agreement. That's the next logical step.
And that's an IDOT cost issue only, that's not FEMA, that's not floodplain management or...
Well, I don't even think it's an IDOT cost issue. I don't know where the cost issue's coming from. If we
I was
pass,
just asking.
yeah, if we pass this, then the next step is just moving forward with the engineering to then get the final access justification granted. We've got the preliminary AJR done, now we need to get the final AJR, which is access justification. Any other questions?
Well, yeah, I
Or not.
think it brings up the detail. If we won't pass this, this is the document we're bound to. If someone comes up and says, well, you know, the old days we used to go down 3 feet, but now we're going to go down 10 or 12 feet, which is going to be...
This has nothing to do with that, you're talking floodplain.
Well, I'm saying as they search for the archaeological items to be saved, they have research.
Right.
I mean, can they change the rules or do stricter requirements? It's going to cost, you know, may I have a stronger financial impact on whoever pays for this.
Well, if they do that with or without this document, they're going to have to adhere to those guidelines. I mean, for a phase 3 mitigation, with or without this document, whatever, the State Historic Preservation Commission and the Advisory Council on Historic Preservation set forth as the guidelines for phase 3 mitigation. They're going to have to adhere to those guidelines. This is just stating that it will be done.